right, we're live. This is my first ever live stream, and we're just gonna wait a little bit. Let's see if anyone is online. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag before we start seeing people show up here. Let's see. All right, so uh, this topic is about how to make a full time living as a filmmaker. Just a little background, I've been freelancing since I would say 2016. But I've been making videos since 2014. So 2016 was when I said I want to make a living doing videos, and finally, doing that part time. In 2019, I went full time, and so I've learned quite a bit since then. I mean, it's been hard even today, 2020. It's not like it. I mean, it gets a little bit easier in the sense that I know what I'm doing. I have a better sense of where I'm going as opposed to years past. It was like, where do I go from here? Um, okay, so hopefully you can hear me just fine. We're gonna jump straight into the questions because we're gonna try to keep this short, and also, for those who are watching on the replay, it kind of sucks to jump into a video that's like 50 minutes long. So let's see if we can keep it under 40. All right, first question I got here is from Jay Lulo. It says here, where did you learn filmmaking and what inspired you? So back in 2014 was when I first picked up my sister's camera. Actually, I just borrowed it. It was a Nikon stills camera. It wasn't really meant for video. And I was trying to make some videos about my vlog. I had a blog on, it was psychology, mental health, and all this kind of stuff that I was writing about. And I quickly learned that my blog wasn't getting any traction, so I thought, why not make videos? It has a better potential to gain some traction on YouTube. And I hated talking to the camera because I wasn't very good. I mean, I was cursing at the camera, but what I really liked was the technical aspect of learning the video part. So that really interests me. That's why I kept up with it. And eventually, I gave up on the vlog. I just didn't like writing, and I started making more like the vlogs, like Casey Neistat. I was watching him, and I thought that was pretty cool. That's a way to get started making videos. Um, so I started publishing on YouTube since I was already doing that, and I thought, this is an education for me, right? Oh, some people are showing up. Um, you super happy giant robot, you're the man. Are you mostly Final Cut Pro X user? So I'll get to those later. Let's get to the questions. I submitted a post on the community tab on YouTube, and so I have some questions. So anyways, long story short, I started making vlogs, and after a while I got bored of that. Like, I can't be recording myself all the time. I just don't enjoy it. So I took like a year break from YouTube, and when I came back, I started publishing some tutorials about filmmaking, and I thought, this is genius. I can teach what I know and also gain experience as I'm making these videos. And so 2016, I started reaching out to wedding filmmakers because when I Google search people that were doing video in my local area, mostly it was wedding filmmakers. So that was my way in. I emailed them and, hey, what's up? Do you need help with editing or shooting? Let me know. And yeah, that's slowly how I got my way in. So what inspired me at the beginning was Casey Neistat. Over time, it was just learning filmmaking itself as a craft. That I was really inspired by that. I'm gonna try to look at the camera. Sometimes I look off to the sides. All right, so let's just look at here at the chat. Also, what is your main camera you're using this year? Hey there, man. Shift. Can you guys hear me fine there on the live stream? Can you hear my voice? Also, if you can let me know where you're tuning in from, that would be cool. What part of the country or part of the world you're from, just to know you're there. Okay, so let's move on to the next question from Tony Fraze. I think that's how you say your name. Did you go to school or self-taught? How did you start getting clients? How did you decide your price points? Very good questions. Like I said, I did not go to school. My background was in computer networking. That's my bachelor's degree, but I left that field because I didn't enjoy it. And so I just learned through YouTube and filmmaking tutorials online. That's how I did it. And also what helped me a lot was actually the act of teaching helps you learn something much better. When you have to explain something, you just become better at that thing you're trying to explain or teach. Um, so getting clients, that's the question that I'm still asking myself, right? For me, the best way to get clients, or the way I've done it, is by reaching out to other filmmakers. I found that it's much easier to ask other filmmakers in my local area if they need help with video work. They already have clients, they're established, so it's easier for me. It was easier to get going that way. I've tried emailing clients directly, and that rarely works, honestly. You know, Craigslist, another way I've gotten jobs. Most are not highest paid, but it's a way in when you're getting started. So try that out. Different job boards around your area. Okay, let's look at the chat for now. Hey there, man. Upper View Media. Hey, what's up? Come, Drew Robinson. You can hear me. South Texas. And the question is, do I only use Final Cut Pro X? Final Cut Pro X, yes, that's the video editing program I use. I tried Premiere, did not like it. I had too many issues. Uh, I, yeah, I'm gonna try DaVinci eventually, but you know, people rag on Final Cut Pro 10, and I don't know. I really like it. I think it's simple to use, and once you learn a tool, you just learn to deal with it or to love it. So your daddy says, what I do before video production? My dad is a strawberry grower. I used to help him with his running his business, and before that, I did computer networking office job, which I didn't like. So that's what I did. That's what I went to school for. Video, not video, computer science. All right. So Samuel Rivera, what's up, man? You can make it, but I have a question you posted here. At what point did you know it was right to quit the 9 to 5 and go full time? Man, this is an awesome question. So for me, it happened in December 2018. I quit my day job because they were wondering why I was missing work so often, especially on Saturdays when it was really busy. And I came in, I told them the truth. Hey, I am filming. I have a part-time freelance job work, and on Saturdays I'm filming weddings. And so I couldn't make any more excuses. And I told them, I don't think I'm going to improve. So it's better if I just quit. Uh, but the reason I quit also was because I was doing pretty good in my part-time freelance. So I knew that if I push harder, I could eventually replace all the income I was making from my day job. Also, I was about to land, I was in talks with a client that wanted me as a retainer, in a retainer. So meaning I would shoot every week for them consistently. And I was really hoping that would come through, and it did in January, late January. That's when we started the retainer. I started with this retainer client, and every week they were sending me out to shoot and edit a little bit. And so that gave me the confidence I could do this full time. And yes, in 2019, I more than, yeah, definitely replaced all my income I was making from my day job. So for me, it was also saving up money, having a client base. I also knew a bunch of wedding filmmakers that trusted me, and I knew they were probably going to hire me more often. So I wasn't, I was falling back into my client base, right? So it wasn't just like I was going out into the open. Samuel also asked, what type of clients do you typically film for? Last year was a lot of uh, realtors. With this retainer client, we did a lifestyle online TV show with the realtors, but we also went out to a lot of wineries. Since out here in California, this area, there's a lot of wineries in Napa and the Monterey Bay area. So I did a lot of that. Also, filmed a lot of weddings. So how do you generate new leads in the industry? How do you market to them? Ooh, generating leads. It's all about networking. Always be reaching out to people. That's, like I said, for me, it's been reaching out to filmmakers. Also, if I land a job, I always try to do the best job possible so they hire me again. And by word of mouth is what's worked for me. Yes, and yes, word of mouth is huge. If a wedding filmmaker, you do a good job, they'll probably refer you to another friend, and that's what's happened to me. Um, a question by James McCullum. Sorry if I butcher your name. I'm making sub $50,000 a year with my current full-time job. I enjoy taking videos, but never done it professionally. Is it sensible to quit my job and start my production company in hopes of making six figures in 3 to 5 years? Or will I make less than I do at my job? So before I get to this question, this is a really juicy question. Let me look at the chat. Carter says DaVinci Resolve is super customizable. Haha, make sure to watch your ads all the way through to make sure you get your money. Your daddy, you think is smart to drive into your full-time videography without any clients? Your daddy. That's a great question. That's what James is asking right now, so I'll get to that. So if you don't have a client base, you you probably should not quit your job, because you're gonna what are you going to do? You need a client base. You need some kind of income coming in. If you just quit your job, now you don't have any income. And for most people, it puts you in a scarcity mindset. For I did not quit my job until I had a client base. So I wouldn't recommend that anyone do it. If you know you work better under pressure, then go ahead. I don't want to advise you to go this way or that way. You should do what you think is best. But for me, what works is saving my money, having enough in the bank that if I do quit my job, I want to have enough money in the bank that I can sustain myself for a couple months. I want to have a client base. It doesn't need to replace my full-time job, you know, but it needs to be enough that I can pay my bills. So that's what I recommend. James, and also your daddy, that's just my approach. Okay. Let me scroll up right here. I got more questions from this one's from Michael Wooden. I believe that's how you say it. Um, Obviously, it's all about who you know, but did you ever make any cold calls or emails or try to get clients? If so, what's the most professional way to go about that? Thanks. So I have not had much um, success with cold emails. Actually, I don't ever call someone. Um, just because when I've done, yes, I've done it, it's just never worked out. When you're reaching out to somebody, they're very suspicious of what you want, right? So for the most part, it hasn't worked out. Most of the time, it's from referrals, word of mouth, or if they post it somewhere like Craigslist. There's also Production Hub. You should check that out. In major cities, you can find work through those avenues. So yeah, just find different job boards, and also ask your clients if they know anyone, any referrals. Yeah, word of mouth is the biggest way to gain new clients. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You should definitely try to reach out to companies and see if they're interested. Also, if you're trying to build your portfolio, don't be afraid of saying, hey, I'll do a video for you for free. That'll work. That's how the people or businesses will respond. If you say, hey, I'm trying to build my portfolio, do you want a free video? And hopefully you already have one or two pieces that you can show them. That way they can see how the pudding before they actually try it, right? Um, that has worked for me. So yes, I've cold emailed businesses, but when I do that, it typically only works when you're offering to do a free video. And that has worked for me. I did a free video, and I show that video still to this day to a lot of my potential clients, and they really love that video. And so it's a way to generate new business if you don't have a portfolio. So Felipa, how did you learn about the legalities of the business, bookkeeping, taxes, property releases, business licenses, insurance, etc.? Was there a single resource that was helpful? Um, you just learn as you go sometimes. I don't take my advice on how to approach the legal stuff. Even 2 days ago, I was filming in San Francisco at this conference, and someone walked up to us and said, you can't film here because you're not part of, they asked us, are you part of the union? And we said, no. And the person says, you can't film here then. I didn't know that. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of things you don't know. You should definitely try to do your research. And also, what helps for me is asking other filmmakers. I try to make as many filmmaker friends as possible. That way, I know how they approach their business. What are the things they do to save money and all this kind of stuff. So make friends with other filmmakers and don't be afraid to share information. Um, that's a huge tip. That has helped me gain confidence in my pricing as well. As far as taxes and all that, you definitely research it. I'm still myself trying to perfect it, and I don't want to give you any legal advice, honestly. Your daddy, here we go. And oh, hey, Mike Cola, nice setup, looks great. Hey, thank you, Mike. Check out Mike's channel. He has a channel on intermittent fasting. Sorry for my accent. I started fasting myself. Actually, I stopped eating today, Mike, at 3:30, so I won't eat until tomorrow. Thank you for your channel. Um, so, dear daddy asks here, do you feel it's best to start out as a second shooter or third shooter or for more established videographers? If yes, how to get them to take me on the team? So this is where cold calling has worked for me. When I first wanted to take the video production as a job, make it a career. The first thing I did is I Google search video production in my local area, and surprisingly, it was wedding filmmakers. I cold emailed all those that whose work I liked, right? And luckily, some of them answered, and I started working for one of them. Started editing some of his stuff. Eventually, I met more people in my local area. I was made it a point to meet with them in person so they can know my face, and they started hiring me and also referring me to their friends. So that helps a lot. Yes, definitely, I would take that approach. It's very hard for someone to take a chance on you, like a client, if you don't have any portfolio, if you never produced anything. So you also learn a lot just from working with different people, stuff that you will not learn on your own. On the job learning is the best. And, the way I approach my video production has been influenced by meeting people that are better than me. So always try to get around people that are better than you. Okay. Um, Philippe again, did you do paid advertising from the beginning? If not, when do you recommend doing so? Where and how? Instagram, YouTube, Google. Did you advertise? Yes, I did advertise at the beginning when I was trying to get my business going. Yelp was the first. I think it was the first one I tried. It I regret it, honestly, because I paid too much, and a lot of the people that are looking for video on Yelp are price shoppers. So there weren't good inquiries. Even to this day, when I get a Yelp inquiry, it's like, oh, they're just price shopping. They're asking everybody. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't pay for Yelp personally. I also tried Google Ads for a while. Didn't work. I tried Google Ads for a while. I didn't get any inquiries, honestly, from it. Then I think I tried just YouTube and Instagram ads for a little bit, and I can't say that it worked just because I didn't do it often enough. So I don't want to prevent you from doing it. I think if you're gonna run ads, you got to do it consistently. You got to do a lot of them and make sure you keep up with it for like more than 2 months in order for you to see any kind of results. I just, you know, for the most part, I would not recommend Yelp or Google Ads. Maybe Instagram might work for if you're a wedding filmmaker. For corporate video, maybe try LinkedIn. I've never tried LinkedIn, honestly. So, yeah. Jeff Warren, is there a piece of equipment, hardware, or software that's been with you from the beginning of your filmmaking journey and you can still part with it? No, I mean, once I get tired of a camera or lens, I sell it and I buy new stuff. I don't get emotional over it. The only thing that I have probably that I've had from the beginning has been my Joby Gorilla Pod. That's about it. Let's see who else here on the live chat. JD Prevost, perhaps have gone over this so far on the stream, but what is your preferred method of gaining new clients? Not speaking about referrals. word of mouth avenues you have already created. Yeah, so I already talked about that. Check out the whole live stream JD for that kind of stuff. Uh, and what cameras am I using this year? I'm using the Sony a7 III right now to do the live stream with the Sony 28 millimeter. It has great autofocus. I love the Sonys. I mean, I love it for the autofocus. It's so easy to use it for live events. I know people love the Blackmagic cameras. I mean, I'm envious, and I sometimes think, oh, I need that camera. But uh, recently, I shot with my friend Nelson. We shot a live event, a corporate event, and he has Blackmagic and also A7 III, and I have an A7 III. And at the end, we ended up using the A7 IIIs way more, just because um, it's easier to use for live events. You can put them on a gimbal; they're easy to move around. The file size is smaller. While the quality might not be better than the Blackmagic, it not be as filmic. When you're filming for hours at a time, we're filming like 8 hours. These corporate, these corporate events. You definitely have to watch out how much the media you're taking up, and the Blackmagic can take up a lot of battery power and also media, the file size. So that's why I'm still loving the A7 III for a lot of corporate live events, also for weddings. I've shot a wedding with a Blackmagic, and it was just the battery life just doesn't last, and also it's also heavier to carry around all day. So yeah, there's a space. If you want to film with Blackmagic, awesome. I mean, I wish I had one as well, but you know, sometimes certain tools are just better for certain jobs. So you just gotta make that decision. Also, I have the Sony FS7 for corporate events. I like filming with that because it has XLR inputs and it has a nice cinema quality that I love that you can't really get from the DSLRs or mirrorless cameras. Let's see, new people showing up. So if you're live, go ahead and drop a comment. I just want to hear from you guys. I know gear isn't everything, but client perception, unfortunately, plus a big role in. Wait. I know gear isn't everything, but client perception, unfortunately, plays a big role in the hiring process. How did that affect you when you started? Did you purchase a camera you couldn't afford? I never, I never went into depth to buy a camera. When I wanted to take video seriously, I had my phone and I said, if I make 8 videos with this phone, then I allow myself to buy a camera. And at that time, I bought a used camera. I always bought them used because I did not want to go into depth, especially if I wasn't making money from it. Um, as far as client perception, a lot of it has to do with gaining confidence in oneself. So at the beginning, I did not have confidence to make a video because I didn't know the process or how to edit to music or any of that. So it's very hard to sell my services. So you just have to produce content. And for me, the way I did that was through YouTube. I was producing content all the time, which gives me confidence when I go with talk to a client. I mean, I've been producing stuff. So find ways to produce content to gain your confidence. Um, and that's it starts with always be creating content. If you stop creating, then you lose some of that confidence. It's harder to sell yourself. And also learn about the art of negotiation. I mean, there's this class on the master class with this guy who's an FBI, ex FBI negotiator, hostage negotiator, and he has a class on negotiation. So learning the negotiation skills and also business skills, that's very valuable to have in this business because most of the time you're spending on finding new clients, writing contracts, just client communication and keeping up with people more so than you do actually filming. So it's kind of sad that we do all this other stuff just so we can get to film. So that happens. You got to be aware of that. And yes, it does help when you have a better portfolio. It's easier to sell to clients and all that stuff. So Feng Zhu, what much would it cost? What much would it cost to hire a photographer to shoot for one day in California? Depends on what. Uh, I'm not sure. There's a lot of variables. People always ask me, how much does a 1 minute video cost? And it's really hard to answer that question. So the analogy I like to use is, well, how much, if you ask a realtor, how much does a 3-bedroom house cost? They're going to tell you, well, it depends. Is it where location, what kind of neighborhood, how fancy is it, a brand new house, old house? So there's a lot of variables. And so that's basically, there's no one number I can give you. Sam Rossi, songwriter, volume is too low. Thanks. Can everybody hear me just fine? Sam says my volume is too low. And Feng Zhu, I believe that's how you say it. Does pricing play a big role? Does negotiation play a big role in pricing? Yes, you're going to have to negotiate. Um, you have to be confident in your pricing. Also, you're going to have to be okay with a lot of clients just walking away and you give them a price and you never hear from them. That's part of the game. Um, at the beginning, I thought I needed to be a great salesman. And yes, it's good to have those skills to be able to talk about money and not to be afraid of that conversation. Uh, as you gain more confidence, it's easier to bring up the numbers, talk about the numbers, and explain why the this is the way to go, right? Why this kind of production makes sense. A lot of clients just know they want the best, and they don't really uh, come back with counter offers, and many do. So you just have to be willing to negotiate. And what I do now in my proposals, I always give people now 3 price points. So the high end, the one I think they're probably not going to go for that, and then the one I want them to go for, and then the lowest package has less stuff in it. Uh, in at least I get a job, right? At least I keep myself busy if they go with the lowest package. But still, I try to have a number that I'm happy with. If I'm not happy with the number, then I just don't go there. So whenever you go into negotiation, it's good to write down a number and tell yourself, I will not go below this number. And also write out the number that you want. So that helps, because you can always well, it sounds good. There's a little bit of static on the audio. Sorry about that. Yeah, just be confident about the number once you write it down, and unless there's a huge potential to you know to build a relationship. I've done that, and yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Also learn about the red flags. There's certain things that clients do if they promise, oh, if give me a break. If they're asking for a huge discount and they're like, oh, there's so much work gonna come to you. Usually that's a bad sign. That's a client that's just trying to take things from you. So you learn to sniff those things out over time. Okay. Um, so Jeremy Stewart asked, how were you able to get your clients? So I think I've talked about that, Jeremy, and that question. Mr. JT, could you tell us about your workflow when you first touch base with the client to the final deliverable? Yeah, so I use a CRM, client relationship management system, called Honeybug. It's very popular amongst wedding filmmakers and photographers. Uh, I like to use it because I can email through that website, and it's also an app you can download to your phone, and you email through that and you keep track of emails. You can invoice, have contracts, templates. You can take payments, credit cards, and it just streamlines the process for me, right? It keeps me organized because I can see I can see my potential clients or clients I'm working with. Um, in the different menus. So that helps me. If you're just relying on your email inbox, sometimes it can get pretty messy. So try to have folders for all of that. So it's just a matter of staying organized. So yeah, try to have a questionnaire, an onboarding questionnaire, where you ask them, what is this project about? What does success look like? And all these kind of questions. Maybe I should talk about that in a future video, about all these questions I ask before we actually get on a phone call. So try to have a process in place, have a questionnaire, and then I use Calendly. I send them a link so it's Calendly, so they can schedule a call with me, a 30-minute phone call. And if they do that, if they answer my questions, if they schedule a call with me through Calendly, then I know they're pretty serious. If they avoid any of those two steps, then it's a red flag. But it's not always a killer. Sometimes, clients just want a number, and when they just want a number, what I try to do is I try to create a proposal, a PDF proposal, instead of just emailing them a number or giving a number over the phone. Because if you just give a number over the phone or just an email with the number, if it feels like you just came up with it on the spot. But when you create a PDF proposal, and usually those PDF proposal has 3 price options, it feels more thought out. And then the client can see that you put time into making that PDF. So I have my own template on how I do that. So that's helped me a lot. Sometimes clients, they take the highest package. I've been surprised by that. They take the highest package, the highest option out of the 3, and I didn't think they were going to go for it. And so that's what I try to do, and that's been very helpful. It also helps you stand out, because I've tried hiring other filmmakers myself, through, I think, Craigslist, and I learned that skill from someone else. They they sent a PDF proposal, and I thought, wow, that's super professional. From here on, I'm gonna do that. Um, so yeah, that I've also learned from other people. All these things I've learned from other people. So yeah, the PDF proposal, I highly recommend it. It just makes it seem more legitimate. Like, that's the number. It's more of an established number. It is what it is, right? It's like going to Burger King and you see the prices up there on the board. You're not going to negotiate those prices because they're already up there, right? Same thing with the PDF. It's like, these are the numbers. Um, Basically, there's no room for negotiation. Just pick one. What do you want? That's how I approach it. Your daddy, do you think it's less about video skills and more about people skills and sales skills? Um, I would say, yeah, it's a combination of both. You gotta be good at what you do. I mean, there's plenty of people in this business that are not, they're okay-ish, but somehow they're really good at business or attracting clients and getting in there, right? And you wonder, well, how come they're making good money even though their video skills sucks? Well, they have business skills. They know how to network and all that stuff. I'm not sure. I'm still myself trying to figure out. Um, it depends what industry you're going into, right? There's some industries where you definitely need the video skills. Me, I'm trying to go into the um, make myself a director of photography, DP. So I definitely need the skills for that, because if I'm trying to get hired by an agency or a big client, they're gonna expect you to have the skills. So yeah, you can make a living even if you're not the best at what you do. So yeah. Feng Zhu, are there good templates to share the PDF proposal? Feng, go ahead and email me. Maybe I can send you a sample of how I do it. Okay. Um, Upper View Media, I can hear you fine, bro. Boom. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Moving on to the other questions I've received here. Jace, let me scroll this up. Hold on. Covering some of the basics of being a legal professional filmmaker open for business could be a helpful facet. Again, I'm not going to go over that because it all depends on your state, where you're at in the country. I myself am still learning. I had to become incorporated recently because I'm working with certain agencies that are being very careful with the new California laws. So they want me to be an LLC or be incorporated, because if I'm a sole proprietor, then there's this whole thing in new California laws that are happening, and so these big agencies, they're being careful with not hiring freelancers. They want someone who's has a legitimate business. So find out. I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah, and then Lamb Films would love a breakdown of the process and systems used. So I mentioned Honeybug. I really love that. If you're trying to create also, Fang, if you're trying to create templates, or proposals, you can check out canva.com. You can create business cards. I've used that, and create proposals and little presentations like storyboards and that kind of stuff. So, you know, you want to show your clients that you're taking at every touch point, you're being very deliberate with how you carry yourself, right? So instead of just shooting out an email with a number on how much this is going to cost, if you make a PDF, and a good looking PDF, it goes above and beyond what most people are doing. So you want to set yourself apart with those little things. Upper View Media. Hey, what's up? How many corporate projects do you average monthly? Ooh, right now it's pretty slow. I mean, it's normal. January, February is pretty slow. I think last month I only filmed like 5 days out of the week of the month, 5 days, 3, 4, 5, or maybe 6. And then this month so far, it's only been once, and it's the first week of February, so once. And so it'll start picking up. I have some scheduled shoots this month, but it just depends the month of what month it is, what time, what season it is. So, right now it feels really slow for me. But I know it'll pick up. You also have to keep a positive mind, because as a freelancer, you can really go into really negative, dark places when jobs are not coming in. And that's why it helps to have other filmmaker friends that you can talk to in person or over the phone and talk to them about, how you're doing. It's also a very lonely place to be a freelancer or a business owner. So that's why it's good to keep people that are in the same spot as you. Oh, again, Feng, what's up, man? Also, what name of the CRM again? CRM is called Honeybug, honeybook.com. Honeymoon. Can you share the ones mentioned somewhere after the stream? Yeah, let me see if I can post something here. It's called honeybook.com. I'll also have, if you're trying to sign up for Honeybook, let me know. I think I can get you a discount. I think $200 off the first year if you use my link. Try to find it, and if you email me, I can share that with you. All right, or it'll be in the description of this video at the very end. Upload more YouTube videos in off season. Haha. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing with YouTube. It's not really my main source of income. My client work is my main source of income. So it's hard, as I'm doing more client work, it's harder to devote more time to the YouTube videos, just because I really need to pay my bills, right? And so YouTube is not quite doing that for me, right? People think that just because you have these amount of subscribers that you're making a lot of money, and that's not the case. It's just a small chunk. What YouTube has done for me, though, is give me a little bit of credibility with clients. Some of them, I show them my YouTube channel and they're impressed by it. Sometimes that's the differentiating factor between myself and other people. And clients have chosen me because I have a YouTube channel and I'm teaching video production. It's very relevant. But some clients, they just don't care. They're like, whatever. We just need someone to show up. So it does help to make YouTube videos. And yeah, I definitely want to make more behind the scenes videos, and also have conversations with people that are professionals in the video production industry. Recently I talked to Luke Servel. He's a professional gaffer in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I want to talk to more of those kinds of people, because they are doing the kind of work I want to do. So my channel has been slowly evolving over time, as I think it's evolved with my client work, so definitely. All right, guys. So if there's not any more questions, I think I went over all the questions that were posted in the community post when I asked. Also here, I think, let me go over the chat one more time. If there's anything you guys want to ask before, because I learned so much from Final Cut. Yeah, people have also been asking me about Final Cut Pro X tutorials. So for some reason, my most watched videos are Final Cut Pro X tutorials, and I didn't expect that was gonna happen, right? I thought my filmmaking tutorials were going to be more popular, but it is what it is. Try, hopefully, there's new things I can teach about Final Cut Pro X. Sometimes what I think it's so simple, why everybody should know this, and I've done a tutorial on it, and people respond well to it. So yeah, I'll try to make more of these little small things I learned about Final Cut Pro X. Yeah. So last thoughts are just making a full-time living as a filmmaker. It's not easy, even right now, where I feel more confident that I can do it, but still, uh, it's not easy, right? Even though I've been doing it for a couple of years, trying to be at it, and now that I've done it a full year, even today, 2020, I think, ooh, I wonder if I can pull it off another year, right? So if you're in that spot where you're trying to quit your day job and go full time, it's about, first of all, build your client base, try to build it up to a spot where you can pay your bills, and also reduce the amount of money you spend and put more money in the bank. That way you have the freedom to quit your job, but don't just quit your job without having any kind of, any income coming in from your video production and your filmmaking. And yeah, get to know filmmakers, get to know as many of them. You should know everyone that's in your local area. Even if you don't want to do weddings, it's a good way to get started. You're going to learn so much. You learn so many skills, because with weddings, it hones your skills. You have to be very fast at exposure, white balance, and moving with what's happening. So it's been great for me just filming weddings, but it's not something I want to do. I love more of the corporate work, and that's why this year I started saying no to weddings, and I want to dig myself deep into the corporate world and commercials, because it I'm able to hone in the visuals, right? You can dedicate more time to setting up the lighting and the camera, and you can use nicer gear and all that stuff, and really make something outstanding. With live events, it's just you're shooting things as they come, and while that's fine, for me, my style has been always to be more deliberate about how I do things. So I feel like the corporate work, now I am at a spot where I can start saying no to weddings, and because I know that I'm building my way into the corporate world. At the beginning, I would suggest that maybe don't be so picky. Just try out different things. Whatever comes, give it a crack at it. See if you like it. Try to make money with it, because for me, even though I wasn't in love with weddings, for 2019, I took on all of them just because I knew it was better than having to go back to a day job. So, I mean, I was always happy as long as I was filming. I always reminded me, at least I'm not at a day job that I don't like. So that's why I kept up with, um, I did weddings all of 2019. I did a bunch of them. And so the reason I'm saying no this year is because if I keep on doing weddings, I can dig myself deeper into the weddings. And I've seen a couple of buddies of mine who are making a good living with weddings. They start, um, they dug themselves into weddings, and now they they can't decline weddings, because it's like money is already being thrown at them, and they don't want to say no to that money. So they keep saying yes to weddings because they're making a really good living with it. And I have not gotten to that point, because most of the weddings I've shot have been for other wedding filmmakers. They haven't actually been my weddings where I was hired directly by the couple. I didn't get too many of those. It was almost always as a first shooter or second shooter for other wedding filmmakers. So I don't feel like I'm giving a huge part of my income. It's just it didn't make up for the majority of my income in 2019. So, this decision to now specialize as a corporate DP, I think I'm excited for that, because I want to work with bigger crews. And so that's part of what you'll see in this channel moving forward. So I want to talk more about that journey. All right, guys. So that's it. Your daddy, thank you for tuning in. Fang Zhu, thank you for your questions. Everyone that showed up for the live stream, Also, for those who couldn't make it, if you have any questions, please drop them down below and I'll make sure to answer. I don't know when I'll do another one. I'll try to make something soon. Also, you know, I'll catch you in the next one. I don't know how to end it. Thank you guys.